Hey guys. So today I wanted to share a story from when I first moved to Korea in 3rd grade. I actually went to school in the US until the middle of 3rd grade, and then I came to Korea around January 2017. Since both of my parents are Korean, even though I went to the US at a very young age, they still taught me how to read and write in Korean. So back then, while I used English outside, at home I would mix Korean and English with my sister. But I mostly spoke only Korean with my parents. So when I first arrived in Korea at 2017, my Korean wasn't super fluent or anything. Back to my first day of school. In the Korean education system, the first day of the school year is early March. If my class was supposed to start at 8:40, I think we arrived just right on time because when I walked into the classroom, all the other students had already arrived and were sitting in their seats. From what I remember, I think people was just sitting wherever they wanted freely. But because I arrived late, there were only 2 empty seats left. One was right in front of the teacher's desk, next to a boy, and the other was near the middle of the class, next to a girl. So in my head, I really wanted to sit next to the girl, but like I mentioned earlier, my Korean wasn't super fluent, and on top of that, back then I was way more shy and way more quiet than I am now. So I was like not answering her question. So the teacher suggested that I sit next to the boy, saying he's a nice and can be a model student for me, because I don't know, maybe because he's a well-behaving student and smart. So that's where I ended up sitting, and that's how my first day went. So next to my school life at 3rd grade, like every morning before the school actually like the class starts, we had 15 to 20 minute silent reading time where we were supposed to bring a book and read quietly. But I didn't have any Korean books at home to bring, which is kind of funny, but because of that, I remember bringing an English book to read instead. Looking back on it now, I honestly wonder what my classmates must have thought of me, because I mean, it's not really common for a 3rd grader in Korea to be sitting there reading a book in full English. Even now, I actually go to the same high school with a friend who was in the same 3rd grade class back then, and we sometimes and talk about those days. I didn't realize at the time, but my friend told me that whenever there was something I didn't know, I used to ask a lot of questions to her. And apparently, without even realizing it, I would use English exclamations or phrases when speaking. Like when we're playing card games, I would randomly say, "It's your turn." Something I still think about quite often is that because I lived in the US when I was little and didn't speak Korean as much during my early childhood. I always feel like my Korean pronunciation isn't that good. And sometimes I wonder how my personality, the way I talk, or my mindset might have been different if I had just lived in Korea my whole life. Would I have been a bit less shy? Not sure. The reason I think about this is because when I moved to the US at 2 years old, I couldn't speak a word of English. So I still have vivid memories of struggling at daycare and kindergarten because I couldn't understand what anyone was saying. And looking back at these small memories, it's really these tiny experiences that shape who I am today. At the time, these memories felt so uncomfortable, but they ended up becoming the building blocks of my personality and perspectives. So if you ever feel like you're in an awkward or difficult situation right now, just remember that every little experience is quietly making you into a stronger, more unique person. So I used to think that it would have been better if I lived in just one country, but now I feel it's just a really thankful experience for me because I lived in an environment many other friends, many other people might not experience in their lives. Anyway, I think that's pretty much the story of when I first came back to Korea. I've never really told this story anywhere else before, and it feels like a story that's not easily to find chances to talk about. So it feels really meaningful to be able to share it with you all guys. So this was all the story I prepared for today, and I'll think about other stories I have to share. See you next video.